At LHTC Broadband, we're proud to provide the communication services you need to get the most from today's technology. We're your local choice for TV, phone, and internet. We offer high-quality cable TV service with HD, multi-room DVR, on-demand, and watch TV everywhere. Plus unlimited calling, and our internet is faster than ever with speeds up to 1 gigabyte. With no contracts and local customer service, switching has never been easier. Call today, 724-593-2411, or visit lhtcbroadband.com.
Good morning, all. This is Laurel Highlands Happenings, and I'm your host, Louise Bates. And yes, I am back. It is good to be back in the recording studio. Good to be back representing the awesome team of the Laurel Highlands Visitors Bureau. And I'm also privileged to be acquainting myself with a brand new studio at the radio station here, as they have recently moved to new headquarters in Donegal, right in the heart of the Laurel Highlands. So we're very excited. Before I go any further, I'd like to say a huge thank you to our sponsors, Springs Folk Festival and Stallstown Flaxcutching Festival. Unfortunately, both of these wonderful events were cancelled for this year, but have no doubt they will be returning next fall. But how have all my listeners been doing? Are you managing to navigate these choppy waters of COVID-19? This is indeed an interesting chapter in our lives, but in the interim, I really hope that our segment of Laurel Highlands Happenings will give you some ideas for places to escape, to discover, to explore, and learn from every month. If you're a resident of the Laurel Highlands, or even a visitor, you're probably aware of our hugely popular Laurel Highlands Pour Tour Passport that we launched last year. In a nutshell, it's a self-drive tour that you can accomplish in your own time to visit 33 participants of various breweries, distilleries, and wineries. If you make a purchase, you receive a sticker that is entered in the appropriate page in the passport, and the goal really is to reach different tiers and gain different prizes. As this was so successful, we are launching Pour Tour Passport 2.0 this year with 39 participants and different prizes. This will launch in mid-September to coincide with the Greensburg Virtual Craft Beer Week. So, with all that in mind, I thought it'd be really great to focus this September's show with a couple of stops that are on our Laurel Highlands Pour Tour, just to give you a taster. So please, welcome to the show, Kevin Ridella of Unity Brewing in Latrobe and Meredith Boustert of Crooked Creek Distillery in West Newton. First off, we're going to hop over to Unity Brewing, pun totally intended, and chat to Kevin. Good morning, Kevin. Welcome to Laurel Highlands Happenings. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing great too. I'm great. So I'm very excited to have you on the show. Unity Brewing is a new brewery in Laurel Highlands, and I'd love to learn more about how you got started, because, you know, I hear lots of stories about craft brewers and these new breweries, and their hobbies started brewing in kitchens and sheds and garages, and then they end up opening breweries. So I'd love to hear how you got started in this.
Well, thanks for having me on. I'm excited to be here, and I, like a lot of people, started in my house on a pot on my stove. When I turned 21, my wife bought me my first home brewing kit, you could call it, and it really just year after year, brewing beer to me is one of those things that you can't quite ever get deep enough into it. So there's always that next step, that next thing you're shooting for. So I went from a stove to a little zombie type half barrel system to a really nice half barrel system, and then to our 6-barrel brewery here at the brewery.
Wow.
Yeah.
Brilliant. So yeah. Unity Brewing is one of the newest breweries in the Laurel Highlands. So for the listeners, tell us where you're located and how long have you been open?
We are on U.S. Route 30 in Latrobe. So we are in Unity Township, which was part of the reason I wanted to name it Unity Brewing. And we are right across the street from the Walmart and the Lowe's and the Pizza Hut. So we're right there. Facing Route 30. And we officially opened on March 7th of this year. And I have to tell you, we had 9 days of just amazing business, amazing amount of customers came and went in those 9 days. And then, of course, like every other business, we felt the effect of the pandemic that we're all living through right now.
Right.
So, but we're making the best of it. We are currently at about a quarter of our capacity inside. We are still serving people inside, both food and beer. And we have a nice outside tent that we can seat about 30 people under. So we've been able to kind of balance that with the weather being so nice. But there's some reason for concern with the colder months ahead. So we're being as optimistic as we can about the current situation that we're in.
Right. And you have to be. I have to say that I went to your grand opening back in March, and it was, God, it was like 6 feet deep at the bar.
Well, thank you so much. I wished I had the time to speak to you then, Louise. Oh,
it was just thrilling to see you so busy. It was wonderful.
Thank you.
So tell me, how many beers you have on tap, and what is your bestseller?
Well, at any given time, we have between 8 and 10 beers going. Unlike a lot of brewers, I have a hard time making the same beer twice. And I think that's one of the exciting things about Unity Brewing is I have customers come in just recently that hadn't been here in about a month, and they looked at the draft list and said, that's amazing. Like, every one of those beers was not here last month. And that's something that not only we wanted to share with our people, but it's a necessity for me as a brewer to not get stuck on certain things. So that being said, our best-selling beer is a vanilla bean blonde, and it was the most unexpected surprise in my brewing career.
Wow!
It was a beer we made when we opened, and we never stopped making it. Now we do tweak it. Every recipe we do change it a little bit because, as I said before, there's always that ability to make something better, to dig a little deeper. And vanilla bean blonde being our best seller, we do have 2 to 3 IPAs at any given time, and those do rotate as well. We are doing a 1-hop series right now, which is a New England style IPA that focuses on single hop varieties. So we have a Citra version of that right now that does really well. It's just a beautiful beer. But we have a Dill Pickle sour right now that is almost gone. It was received so well. We were really surprised at how many people fell in love with that beer. And it's just like it sounds. It's sour, it's salty, and it's all dill pickle. And we have so much fun brewing beer like that. We just actually we just took the keg of our maple bacon stout, which tastes exactly like it sounds. Real maple in that and bacon, and just a beautiful stout behind it. And we'd love to do things like that because I think we're in an environment where people don't always want to drink the same beer day in and day out. They're looking for variety just as much as I am as a brewer.
This sounds great. It sounds really creative. I mean, that vanilla bean sounds really yummy. I'm going to have to try that.
It's surprising. It's surprising because there's really no sweetness to it at all. And the beer is definitely a beer, but it just has the right amount of vanilla that kind of makes it taste like a vanilla cookie in a way.
Right. Because I did see as well, I saw your the Dill beer that you posted on Facebook, and it's green. I thought it's like Kermit green. I'm like, wow.
There are gallons of real pickle juice in that beer. And that's really what it took to make the taste what it needed to be. And that's not an original idea. We had attended Picklesburg last year in the city and had a couple different pickle beers, and we knew right then and there. And when I say we, I talk about Alan, our co-brewer, who is just as vital an ingredient to the greatness of the beer in here as I am. But we do a lot of things like that together, and we both had a pickle beer down there, and we were like, you know what? We're going to make a pickle beer.
That's great. Now,
yeah.
So talking about pickles, I understand you serve food as well at the brewery. Is that right?
We do. We are one of the few breweries that has a kitchen in-house. And the cool thing about our kitchen, as you saw when you were here, is it's right here.
Yeah.
It is a show in and of itself. And you can't help but want something when you come in and you smell it, you see our chef Kevin preparing it. And the neat thing about Chef Kevin is his menu in an area like Unity Township. I felt like we were lacking some really unique, fresh food options. And that's not to down talk anybody else in the area. I just saw a need for something like that, but not over the top expensive. You can make really great food and charge a fair price for it, and people will just keep coming back because fresh ingredients, talent like he has, creates simple dishes that people are really surprised to find, not only in Latrobe, but at a little brewery. So that's one of the most exciting things about here is when we designed Unity Brewing, I knew from that moment, that very initial stage, I don't know how to cook. I don't know how to run a kitchen or a restaurant, but I know that I can find the right person that has all of that and more and give them that opportunity and that stage to be what they're meant to be. I can brew beer, and our chef doesn't interfere with my brewing operations, and it helps me sleep at night to know that I don't do that either when it comes to his food and his kitchen. But we have things. We have great. I talk about great food. We have an ahi tuna. These are mostly all small plates. One of my favorite dishes consists of 3 mushrooms. We have creminis, oysters, and button mushrooms. It's sautéed in white wine and butter and garlic. It is the simplest, but it is probably my favorite because you really taste the thought behind the combinations of these flavors. And that's really what makes great food and what makes a great chef is taking all the right things, putting them at the right place at the right time. And I feel like he does.
This is great to hear. So we are running a little bit out of time, but I really wanted to quickly just touch on the fact that you're part of the Pour Tour, and has that been good for you? It's been great for us.
Great. The Pour Tour, honestly, I can say I spend a lot of time in the pub. That's the other. I'm an owner that wants to be present. I like people, and I enjoy talking to and meeting new people. And I can honestly say in the time that I spend in here, at least 50% of our customers are asking us for Pour Tour stickers.
Oh, that's great.
Showing us their books and all the places they've been and places that I have been. And at its simplest, it's a common thread that is a community in and of itself. But what it does for us as a brewery is it drives folks in. They see another exciting new place opening up, and they're part of that little community that's grown to a pretty big community, and they just want to get their sticker and get their book filled out.
We see that too. We do, and
we're big fans.
It's good to see. Now we are running out of time. So Kevin, very quickly, can you tell us quickly? You do have events. You have live music, and tell the listeners also where they can find you online, so they can look up this live music and events that you do. Yes,
so you can find Unity Brewing online. We have our own website. It is Unity Brewing PA. all one word, .com. That will always have our current draft list. It will also have our upcoming music events. On Wednesday from 6:30 to 8:30, we hold an open mic. for local musicians. And every Friday we have a live band outside for now until things get back to normal.
Brilliant. Kevin, it has been great to talk to you. I wish you the very best with Unity Brewing. Let's hope we all get back to normal at some point. Thanks for being on the show. And I know you're super busy.
I appreciate you even thinking of me. I'm flattered.
All right, great. Well, hopefully I'll be popping in soon. So but until then, thank you very much.
Thanks, Louise. Take care.
If you've just joined us, you are listening to the September edition of Laurel Highlands Happenings. I'd like to thank our sponsors, Springs Folk Festival and Storstown Flax Scutching Festival. Sadly, due to COVID-19, both these awesome fall festivals have been cancelled for 2020, but they will return next year. So anyway, our next guest this morning is Meredith Boustert, and she's from Crooked Creek Distillery in West Newton. Good morning, Meredith. How are you? And welcome to Laurel Highlands Happenings.
Well, thank you so much, Louise. Thanks for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Well, I'm so glad you could take time out of your busy schedule to have a chat about what you're doing at Crooked Creek Distillery. Now, for the listeners, you have two locations. One is in West Newton and one is in Irwin. Can you tell us a little bit about your story? How did you get started with a distillery?
Well, sure. So it may seem a little unusual, but my husband, David Boustert, had a friend in South Carolina who had opened up a moonshine distillery. And being the engineer that he is, was very interested in the whole process, as he kind of likes to tinker with things and make things. And one day he simply said, "Hey, I'm thinking of starting a distillery." And, turns to me and says, "You'll help me with that, of course, right?" And I'm not really sure there was an answer other than, "Of course, honey, I'll help you with that."
Like you had a choice.
You had a real big choice there. But, wanted to be very supportive of it. And turns out he has quite the knack for it. I think he's a very good distiller, and he puts a lot of research in everything he does. So we've come up with a number of wonderful products and an approach into how we make our products. And so far, seems to be a pretty successful formula.
So when did you open your first location at West Newton?
So I believe that was August 1st, 2018. We were officially in business with full occupancy. In fact, we just celebrated our 2-year anniversary, and we'll be actually giving away 2 prizes we've been collecting entries for all of August. So that was our first day in full operation, August 1st, 2018. Cool. And we recently leased a spot on Main Street in Irwin. We're about halfway down Main Street between the park and the Lamp Theater. If you're familiar with State Farm or the florist down there, we're right in that little cluster of buildings. We rented that or leased that mid-February, did some renovations. COVID hit. Things got a little weird. And so we are actually finally just plumbed in. We've been open with limited hours, but we're really just finishing the renovations to the space now. It's just been sort of crazy.
Oh, yeah. It's been crazy for everybody, but good for you for forging forward and doing it. Now, you do have quite a few products that you make. So I know you make moonshine, there's vodka, there's gin. I have tried, I've sampled several of yours and they're all really good. Am I missing anything?
Well, sure. We did start out as a moonshine distillery, a clear kind of a moonshine. We now have a number of flavors where we make all of our own syrups with real products, no artificial colors, flavors, or extracts. So that kind of is our niche, is we do everything with real product. We do have vodka. It's a corn-based vodka, very smooth. We use it also to make our gin with, both corn-based products. Gin's kind of a botanical gin, not a heavy British gin. But we also now are making bourbons and rye whiskey. One of our bourbons is we offer has honey, a local apiist who actually also works for us. It's a blend of the raw fall and spring honey. We're introducing a peach bourbon. I guess there's a number of very popular products out there with peach right now that are hard to get. So we did get some peach in, and we'll be introducing that this week. We also make rums. My husband decided he wanted to make rum. So we have a silver rum that is very smooth and a gold rum, which we take the silver rum and we age it in bourbon barrels. I'm trying to think if I'm missing anything.
No, this is great. I didn't know you did the rum. I know you started the bourbon and the rye whiskey, but rum as well. Wow. Your gin is very good, I have to say.
Oh, well, thank you. We do differentiate some of the bourbon and the whiskey between large barrel batches and small barrel signature batches. So they are a little bit different and have some sort of different flavors and nuances to them. But so far, they've been very well received. We also make an aged moonshine. Comes out about twice a year. It offers people who like whiskey or the taste of a whiskey, but might be gluten-free, the opportunity to drink something gluten-free that tastes like a whiskey, because it's just our moonshine that's been aged in new American white oak barrels. So most of our products are gluten-free, other than the true bourbons and whiskey products. Everything else is gluten-free.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's really good to know. So my next question is, what is your biggest seller? What is the go-to? What do people really love? Is there anything that really sort of stands out?
So far, and it has a little competition as of late, but so far, blackberry lavender lemonade moonshine has been the best seller, hands down, outsells everything else year round. Even in the fall, it has outsold pumpkin pie, even though that's got real pumpkin puree in it. So the next lead is the honey bourbon has become quite popular. We were out for a short period of time, and people kept asking for it. So I can foresee that being kind of our second best seller here very shortly.
Gosh, wow! This is really good to know all these things. So I want to know next with the whole tying in with the Portor. That's got to have been an impact for your distillery. I'm wondering even with the Irwin location, because Irwin has the meadery, has a brewery there. It's got several breweries around that area. I'm just wondering, has it been a good thing for you, for your distilleries?
Absolutely. Actually, both locations are very well situated for the Portor. We send people in West Newton down to Bloom Brew all the time, and vice versa. So we see people back and forth. We'll even find people coming in groups that were over at the wineries in Mount Pleasant area, or even the breweries from over there. So they do tend to plan, right, with a group of them. A lot of them have designated drivers, and they'll spend the whole day sort of stopping in sort of a swath or area, generally speaking. So West Newton, it's been actually very, very, I think, advantageous between us and Bloom Brew. And in Irwin, it has also been the meadery. We very often have people stop right over that we're at the meadery. Amber from there, she sends people over, and we send people over to there, and as well as I think it's called New Crescent Brewery.
Yep, that's correct. Yeah.
So it's a very synergistic, very open, arms kind of a sort of welcoming between the three that are right there in downtown Irwin. So they're all within walking blocks. Irwin's not that long. So yeah, people love the fact that they can pop over and try multiple different locations on the Portor.
This is really good to hear. I think maybe people were fearful at the beginning it might be competitive, but actually it's been more of a strength. It's been a collaboration, and like you say, people are like planning an itinerary and where they're going to go that weekend. They hit several spots, and it just boosts everyone, doesn't it? It's just great to hear how wonderful it's been for everybody. It really is.
It also boosts the downtowns that we're in. So, I think the downtown locations are very welcoming as well, because the shops that are open, the more business you can, welcome into your downtown area like that, like in Irwin in particular, everyone is sort of benefiting from this.
Oh, this is great. This is great to hear. Now, you used to have events like live music at your West Newton location. Are you still doing that with COVID, or are you going to schedule things in the future? What's happening with that at the moment?
Well, interestingly enough, although COVID, I guess, did play a part in it, I would say that our expansion and growth has played a bigger part in the fact that currently we just don't have the space for it. We moved the bar last fall to create more production space and found out very quickly we needed more. So currently our tasting room is really our only, and some curb space is really our only space for tables at the moment. We might be able to reopen the smaller bar version sometime this fall or winter, but we really have taken over most of the building for expanded production and an increase in our production requirements. So actually along those lines, we are hoping to find some additional expansion opportunities so that we don't have to try and cram all of our production and retail and entertainment space all into one.
Well,
so we don't quite know where and when. We do want to be able to continue to have the opportunity to increase our production and expand, entertainment and things of that nature. So we are looking for some opportunities. Okay,
well, that's a good problem to have, that you want to expand. So if people who are listening now and think, oh, this sounds great, we got to hit these the distillery. What are your opening hours currently at the moment for both locations?
Okay, so Irwin's a little more limited. However, now that we're finishing sort of the renovation build out of that small space, we will be looking to expand. But currently, it's Fridays from, I believe, 5 to 8, Saturdays from 11 to 6, and Sundays from 12 to 3. West Newton, we have Wednesday through Friday, I believe, 4 to 8 p.m. Saturday, I believe we're open 12 to 6, and Sundays 12 to 5. Okay. Those hours probably will remain fairly stable. If anything, they may expand, but those are the current hours.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you, Meredith. We are out of time. If people want to learn more, they can find you on Facebook, I'm assuming, and Instagram?
Primarily Facebook, Instagram, and then hopefully our website, crookedcreekdistillery.com, shortly.
Brilliant. Thank you, Meredith. It's been great to talk to you. Best of luck moving forward with expansion and everything. And I'll be in for some more gin soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'd like to say thank you to Kevin Radilla from Unity Brewing and Meredith Baustert from Crooked Creek Distillery for being our guests on the show today. And thank you to our sponsors, Springs Folk Festival and Storstown Flax Scutching Festival. Unfortunately, both of these wonderful fall festivals were cancelled for 2020 due to COVID-19, but they will return in 2021. You have been listening to the September edition of Laurel Highlands Happenings. All events and businesses mentioned today can be found at laurelhighlands.org. And if you're active on social media, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
At LHTC Broadband, we're proud to provide the communication services you need to get the most from today's technology. We're your local choice for TV, phone, and internet. We offer high-quality cable TV service with HD, multi-room DVR, on-demand, and watch TV everywhere. Plus unlimited calling, and our internet is faster than ever with speeds up to 1 gigabyte. With no contracts and local customer service, switching has never been easier. Call today, 724-593-2411, or visit lhtcbroadband.com.